You've probably heard this before. I just need a drink to take the edge off. Or maybe after a stressful day, someone jokes, "Wine is my therapy." Sounds familiar, right? Here's the thing. What if I told you that the very drink we believe helps us relax or feel better might actually be silently making our anxiety and depression worse? Yeah, I know, it's not the most fun truth to hear. But today, we're going to dive into the hidden side of alcohol, the side that directly messes with your mental health. Let's be real. Alcohol is everywhere. From Friday night get-togethers to wedding toasts, to that glass of wine people say is good for the heart. It's woven into our social lives and culture. For many, it feels like no big deal, just part of normal life. But here's the question we don't always ask. What is it actually doing to our brains, our emotions, and our long-term well-being? Because while alcohol can give that short-lived sense of calm or happiness, the science tells us a very different story once the buzz fades away. So let's start simple. Alcohol is a depressant. Not in the makes you sad sense right away, but in how it slows down your brain and nervous system. It boosts a calming chemical called GABA, which is why you feel relaxed. And it temporarily reduces another brain chemical called glutamate, which is linked to excitability and stress. That's why after a drink or two, people feel looser, more social, and sometimes even braver. Pause. But here's the catch. Once your body starts processing the alcohol, the effects flip. Your brain tries to rebalance itself, which can leave you feeling more anxious, restless, or even down the next day. This rebound effect is one reason hangovers don't just make you feel physically sick, they can make you feel emotionally drained too. Here's where it gets tricky. Many people drink to manage stress or anxiety, and it works, temporarily. But once the effects wear off, anxiety often comes back stronger. This creates what researchers call a feedback loop or cycle. You feel stressed, you drink to relax. The alcohol wears off, anxiety spikes. To cope with that spike, you drink again. And before you know it, alcohol isn't just part of your social life. It becomes part of how you cope with life. According to the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, nearly 20% of people with anxiety disorders also struggle with alcohol misuse. That's a pretty big overlap. Now let's talk depression. Studies show that people who drink heavily are at a much higher risk of developing depression. Why? First, alcohol messes with your brain's natural balance of serotonin and dopamine, the feel-good chemicals that regulate your mood. Over time, alcohol use can blunt these systems, making it harder for your brain to feel happiness or motivation without it. Second, alcohol impacts sleep. Sure, it might knock you out faster, but research from Harvard Medical School shows it actually disrupts REM sleep, the stage most important for emotional regulation and memory. Poor sleep equals worse mood, higher stress, and greater risk of depression. It's like borrowing happiness from tomorrow, but with heavy interest added on. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room. You've probably heard the idea that a glass of red wine is good for the heart. While it's true that certain compounds in wine, like resveratrol, can be beneficial, the overall health risks of alcohol often outweigh the benefits. The World Health Organization recently stated that no amount of alcohol is completely safe for health. That doesn't mean one drink will ruin your life. But the narrative that alcohol is somehow healthy is, well, misleading. Fun fact, did you know the idea of moderate drinking is good for you actually came from studies funded by, you guessed it, the alcohol industry? Pause. Yep, always follow the money. So, what can you do if you're noticing that alcohol is affecting your mood, your stress, or your overall mental health? Imagine this. There's someone. We'll call her Sarah. She's a 29-year-old working professional who's constantly juggling deadlines, meetings, and late-night emails. Every evening, she pours herself a glass of wine, telling herself, "I deserve this. It helps me relax." At first, it works. She feels calmer, even a little happier. But over time, she notices something odd. She's waking up groggy, her motivation at work is slipping, and her anxiety in the mornings feels sharper than ever. One day, Sarah decides to try a little experiment. No alcohol for 1 month. Within weeks, she's sleeping better, waking up refreshed, and that morning dread she used to feel starts fading. She even realizes she's laughing more, feeling clearer, and enjoying her evenings without needing a drink. The point? It's not magic. It's what happens when the brain and body finally get a chance to reset. Dr. George Koob, director of the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, once said, "Alcohol may make you feel better in the short run, but it's not a solution. In fact, it often makes the problems worse in the long run." And that's the key takeaway here. Short-term relief is never worth long-term damage. Think of it like this. Your body and mind are on the same team. When your brain chemicals are out of balance because of alcohol, it affects your energy, focus, relationships, and even your physical health. Conversely, when you care for your body through sleep, exercise, and mindful choices, you're also protecting your mental well-being. Here's something you might not know. During Prohibition in the US, doctors actually prescribed alcohol as medicine for anxiety and depression. Fast forward 100 years, and science now shows us the exact opposite. It often makes those conditions worse. Crazy how far we've come, right? So, if you've been relying on alcohol to take the edge off, I want you to know this. You're not alone, and you don't have to feel guilty. What matters is what you do next. Even small changes, like skipping that extra drink or taking a week off, can have massive impacts on your mood, energy, and overall mental health. Remember, your mental health is worth protecting. As the saying goes, take care of your mind, and your body will thank you. Take care of your body, and your mind will thank you too. If you found this video helpful, you might want to check out my other video on the science of sleep and mental health, because sleep and alcohol are more connected than most people realize. Take care of yourself, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.